Time's up. Let's do this.
Hello and very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Babael here, and joining me today is Katips as usual, your usual EGTV Hearthstone casting crew. We were on HearthstoneSEA slightly earlier, and because of some Twitch issues here, we definitely have to switch back to this channel. But rest assured that the future of all Legends tournament will be hosted on HearthstoneSEA's Twitch channel. So do give them a follow, a like, and probably just spread the love, man. These guys are fantastic. They are what that's making this tournament possible. Anyway, just to let you guys know, as you can see on the screen here, I am Babael. Joining me is Katips. We're both fantastic cards in terms of Hearthstone. He's a Huffer, and I can nullify every single minion to 1 health. And yeah, other than that, this is a best of 5 single elimination Southeast Asia Legends Invitational. We have with us on stream today adyb versus Snowace in round 2 of the Legends tournament. So how are you feeling, man?
I'm feeling pretty good, and we have a great match right now because we are seeing, I believe, the second ranked player in Southeast Asia, if I'm not mistaken, for Snowace. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, so we had the top player, Dr. Hot Chocolate, couldn't make it to the tournament, so we have Snowace as the top seeded player. He is facing adyb, who is not the bad player himself. He is quite a good player. We've seen him in a number of tournaments on this channel in Southeast Asia as well. So these are two pretty excellent players, and we are going to start it off. Their first match, Druid versus Druid. So how do you feel about this matchup? So it's going to be like our last Paladin versus Paladin, I think.
Oh man, this is just gonna be so long. It's really just gonna be long drawn, but for a good reason, because both are really good control decks, and I do believe that whoever can get a better value trade, I have no idea if it's gonna be a mirror deck though. It shouldn't be that case, but still very much excited to see what's gonna happen here. It seems like it's gonna be a token druid coming out from adyb, but on the flip side, what do you think Snowace is playing?
Actually, Snowace is the hand I can't see, but I can comment on the hand of adyb with the Shade of Naxxramas and the Ooze. So that's pretty much a big indicator, as you said, of a token druid, and it's gonna be a task now for Snowace to maybe start putting down some defense and make sure that adyb does not get his Savage Roar combo with too many tokens on the board. So that's pretty much going to be the finisher for adyb. For Snowace, yeah, definitely he has to put up some defense, because that's already 1 Ooze down, 1 Ooze in hand for adyb. And yeah, if he just manages to keep minions on the board and get at least 1 Savage Roar, then I think he's going to be in a good position.
Yep, I agree. So here we have some pretty good games going on, and effectively we have a 5-5 on the board from adyb. This is game number 1. By the way, this is also single elimination, as you can see on the right hand side, and Snowace is effectively playing a deck that we cannot recognize right now.
It's either gonna be it's either gonna be a ramp or one of those new modified ramps with Savage Roar and Force of Nature. So it's kind of like the old school. Remember the old beta? When the first version of Strife Cross Druid with the Force of Nature, when he first discovered the Force of Nature to Savage Roar combo, around that time there was a ramp deck that runs 1 of each, and I think it's making a comeback. So all of these old decks, season 1 decks, the Control Paladin, the old school Handlock, Control Warrior, Control Druid with a Savage Roar, it's pretty nice to see these decks again, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely going to be pretty nice here, and we have a 4-6 on the board for adyb with the 5-5, the 1-2. Both of them are still pretty much valid. What he needs here really is just Savage Roar. I think Savage Roar is just going to wreak havoc already. Maybe even Power of the Wild first into Savage Roar. That's going to be God draw for adyb. But if you look at the amount of damage he's going to deal, that's about 11 plus Savage Roar's 2 on every single thing else. That's 10, and that's already 23. But here comes a taunt and a second shade. That's not what he wants. He can silence the 4-6 to bypass.
Silence. Yeah.
But if you silence the 4-6 and you go all in to face, your own bear is gonna die.
Well, this is one of those decisions that determine a good player from a reckless one.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right.
It's gonna be how much damage. It's always a question, isn't it? When do I go for the face and when do I clear the board? And the answer is always it depends, and that really is the test of how good a player you are, how good you know your deck, what you expect your next plays in the future turns are going to be. So it's really, how would you play this then?
Okay,
What
I
do you
would
think your
have
move would
ran. I would have ran the 6-2 into the 4-6. I think that's valid because you want to, as a token druid, you have to remember your priority, your main win condition is to have as many tokens or minions on the board as possible. And he doesn't have Savage Roar yet, so maintaining board control is absolutely necessary. Plus the fact he's up against a druid. Druid is renowned for being really bad for clearing the board. If he does use Poison Seed, so what? This is a token druid, they don't care, right?
That's
so
right,
swiping here is not going to kill anything at all except for the swipe target. And if he runs his, himself with the hero power into the 6th one, that's exactly what you want there. With a second shade growing so strong, I think the adyb is pretty comfortable with this position right now.
Yeah, the Echoing Ooze at 1-2, that's pretty annoying. I remember back in the day when there was a Novice Engineer that was in every deck. 1-2 was pretty hard to remove in the early game, and now Echoing Ooze has returned that small token 1-2, hard to remove, especially against Druid, as you said. Swipe is not going to be able to remove anything but possibly the 4-4, and looks like Snowace is going to take the hit. It's just going to leave him vulnerable. He's down to 15, so all adyb needs is a small push, and I think that's going to be enough for him to take this.
Well, it's interesting to see that he's not actually allowing this shade to snowball, because I think that there is no real need for that. The only problem is you are not playing around Black Knight, and if Black Knight comes out, 4-3 goes down, you don't really have board control, but so what? You have lethal almost next turn, and I think he does have it next turn. If the Black Knight comes out, it's game over. He needs to play Taunt for Snowace, and it's up to him, legend rank number 2 by the way in Southeast Asia. He needs to know this is where you play defense. Definitely.
You can't afford, there is no health comeback for Druid except for maybe a Healing Touch or maybe a Self Ancient of Lore. But when you're down to below 10 health, there's really no coming back for you unless you manage to put up some sort of defense.
Man, this is game then. Oh, Force of Nature as well. Might as well finish it with style. But no, he's not going to go for the BM finish. Just going to slowly poke him to death. And the Keeper of the Grove, Moonfire. So Snowace goes down with 1 game already. Best of 5 single elimination tournament life on the line. In almost every single round. Really intense matches here. Crazy stuff.
So that leaves Snowace with Paladin and Warlock. So how do you feel about Paladin or Warlock against Druid?
Paladin or Warlock? Against Druid, I would say that one of the better counter is the Handlock. And Paladin these days seems pretty okay. The Paladin is able to hold the front, especially Colento's version with Kel'Thuzad that we just saw in the first round. I think it's a very good variation. But then again, it's very draw reliant. Generally, if you play Paladin, you have Consecration, you have Wall Paramount Equality, you should be pretty okay. But what happens if you don't find those cards? Because those are combo cards and they are not like one off one card, like one swipe, that kind of thing. It's like you need 4 cards and you need to have 2 cards of those 4 cards inside. There's always a chance that you're not going to get the combo that you need.
Yeah. So if you don't get Consecration, if you don't get the combo to clear the board of a Rap Druid, or clear the tokens in this case against adyb, then you're definitely in trouble. I mean, you can put up all the defense that you want, but you're just gonna get overwhelmed by so many tokens. Savage Roar already in the hand of adyb. Let's see if he mulligans it out. And
oh, I think you're a turn behind. I'm already in the game.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, okay, already in the game. I see the hand of adyb. Okay, here we go. Get caught up.
Alright, so Shield of Naxxramas, Defender of Argus, Swipe, and Wrath in the hand for adyb. And for Snowace, it seems pretty devastating. There's the Shade of Naxxramas, so he's gonna coin that out, and that is gonna be a ticking time bomb.
That's right. So I think the task now for Snowace is to just maintain board control, get himself to the end game where he can put up some taunts and basically just nullify this Savage Roar combo from the Druid. And he just needs to survive these early turns, these early tokens. adyb, of course, starting it off with a Shade of Naxxramas and the Haunted Creeper, and Swipe in hand is also going to be quite crucial for adyb, especially with these smaller minions from Snowace. He can stop some of these minions and make some room for some of these mid-game minions for his side. But I think, so from this point in the game, considering adyb just drew into Druid of the Claw, who do you think so far can control the game and set the tempo for the end game?
Well, I think that both sides are pretty fine in terms of controlling. It's still not really over yet. The Shade is just not able to do anything at all. That's why I don't think he's gonna use that. There's the Equality Consecration combo, but he is still 2 mana shy from that. Okay, running that into the Death Rattle. So we have okay, we have him playing Equality Consecrate. He's just gonna burn everything. Alright, that's still pretty fair.
Yeah, so not the best value. I mean, those are just 3 health minions that he's using it on, but I think it's pretty necessary. You don't really want to give a token druid too many tokens. Not really the best idea.
Oh, but here's where things get very serious though. We have a 5/5 and he's drawing 2 cards. So that's a lot of value from the Ancient of Lore.
Yep, that's right.
He needs humility now, but he doesn't have it. Snowace is just not filling the cards.
He needs a Peacekeeper, a humility, some way to remove this. Although I think he can take a bit of damage. He just doesn't want to dip to below something like 18 health maybe. So adyb has a good number of removals. I think it's pretty crucial that he drew into Black Knight. That's gonna stop Tyrion Cold. That's gonna stop something. I mean, slow down at least the Sludge Belcher or Tazdingo. So yeah, and he also has some sort of defense with the Druid of the Claw. Pyro is gonna come down for Snowace. Let's see. He's just gonna end it. So that should tell adyb that he's played a Pyromancer, didn't have any follow-up or didn't use a combo on his Ancient of Lore. That should tell him something.
It's telling him that he doesn't have Eldor Peacekeeper, he doesn't have Humility. Those 2 cards are definitely cards you want to play. But here comes the Wrath to kill the Wild Pyramids, because that's a target you don't want to let it slip by like that unnoticed. And it's gonna deal 5 damage. And this is definitely gonna be way longer than Druid versus Druid.
Yep.
Because Paladin is just renowned to hold a record for healing absurd amounts close to late game.
Definitely. Lots and lots of healing for Paladin and lots of defense towards the end of the game. And we mentioned before, Druid has a little bit of a problem with clearing the board, especially big minions. Single target minion removal is not Druid's specialty, since it only has to rely on something like a swipe or swipe with Wrath combination. And if Snowace manages to put down some defense and get some healing into play, I think he still has a chance.
Right. So here, I think he's gonna play the Harvest Golem, but the main problem is dealing with the 4/5, which he can use 1 swipe to deal with that. Swipe it, run the 1/2 to kill it, then use the 5/5 to kill the 4/5. Bane is definitely going down as well, but that means Consecration from Snowace is gonna have so much value. So you know what? He's just gonna say, I'm just gonna taunt up and go for face. Yeah, if you cannot really get value from clearing Cane Bloodhoof, might as well don't do it.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely right. I agree with that play. I like that. And also Savage Roar is already in the hand of adyb, so that can fly at any moment. If he has enough minions on the board, he can just burst it down.
I think it's enough the next turn. 10 plus 6 is 16. Plus 2 on himself. That is already 18 damage. And we're looking at either Holy Light here or Rag for Snowace.
I think he needs the Holy Light. Holy Light should come down and start giving himself a bit of a breather, stop the bleeding at least. Rag would be nice though. Rag would be able to has a 50% chance to take out the 5/5 or a 4/6, so I think that's pretty good. That'll give him a little bit of a breathing room.
Right. So here,
however,
I think,
oh my gosh, big game hunter for adyb. Gonna be ready for Rag when it comes down.
I think that, yeah, here I don't see that adyb has got enough damage to clear. He's gonna be very tempted to run one of those 1/1s into the 4/1. and then you're gonna spawn a 4/5. But if it does the board clear, again, it defeats the purpose playing as the token druid. But of course, you have to remember that he's got swipe. So if he does swipe the second Bane, the first Bane, sorry, as in the second cow, then I think he is still in a pretty good spot. But he's gonna go for Savage Roar and instantaneously gonna go for face. Is it gonna be enough? I think it's only 15. He goes all in. All in and forcing Snowace for a heal next turn. But there is the healing, there is the goddamn lay on hands. It's just gonna heal him for 8. Which means that there is still room for Snowace in this game here. What do you think about the all-in play just now there?
I think it's enough. I think it's gonna force Snowace to use up heals where he wanted to have some sort of control. And it's also, I think adyb is mindful of the fact that he has swipe in hand for that final 4 damage burst. So even if Snowace manages to clear some of his minions, I think he's confident that he can just with swipe and whatever he draws next, I think it's gonna be enough.
Yeah, I think so as well. But there is always the factor that if he has healing touch, I think he doesn't lose to Holy Light. A second Holy Light is not gonna put Snowace out of range, but the healing touch is gonna definitely put him to 13 health. And that's where I think adyb just gambled a little bit too much. Oh, and the second Savage Roar. Who are we kidding, man? This is adyb we're talking about. So swipe, Savage Roar, and hero power. You don't have to learn to count to know that that is more than enough.
That's right. So adyb gonna take it. So despite being control decks versus control decks, we are seeing a lot of quick games.
Top decks, man. Top decks. It's all about top decks.
Today is the top deck tournament, and that's going to be 2-0 for adyb. That's going to drop Snowace down to his Warlock. So are we expecting another Zoo? Are you expecting another Zoo this time around?
Weirdly, I would not like to see Zoo, but I think it's going to be Zoo because Handlock, you really have to be very good at that to make sure that you know what you're doing. All the timing has to be right. You have to know the cards that your opponent play. You have to know almost like 60% of the deck list that he plays, and we'll see. But no, it's actually going to be Handlock. So yeah, Handlock is going to be pretty exciting. It's going to be control based, but the main difference here is that Zoo, if you go all in and one swipe comes out, you're probably ragged. If you play Handlock and your opponent doesn't realize that, you have a good starting hand like what Snowace has here. He has the Mountain Giant, Faceless, Manipulator, Twilight Drake. I think that's a pretty good hand already. Yep.
So Handlock is good for normal Rep Druid. They just don't have enough to clear all of the big threats. But how do you feel about Handlock versus a Token Druid? Especially with the hand as good as adyb. I think that's a pretty decent hand. Opening with a coined out Echoing Ooze. He has Haunted Creeper down the next turn. How do you feel about Handlock versus a deck like this?
Handlock versus a deck like this, I think that the priority is getting your board clear out. I think that depends on what Snowace runs. If he runs 2 Shadow Flame or if he runs Hellfire at all, it's going to be very important that he gets those board clear as soon as possible. But so far, he can still tap, he can still wait to play some big minion, because we have to understand that Druid really suck in clearing giants. They cannot clear giants. It's a problem for them. Once you have a taunt up with a giant, it's more or less like game over for Druid.
That's right. Exactly right. And as you said, it's always the contention. Do you bring 2 Shadow Flames or do you bring 2 Hellfires in a tournament? And I think from the tournament decks I've seen, it's always for a tournament situation you want 2 Shadow Flames, and then for the latter you want 2 Hellfires. So let's see if Snowace is gonna decide to go for a turn 4 Twilight Drake.
I think what Snowace also needs here is the taunt providing minion, which he doesn't have yet. And we have to remember that there is also the Keeper of the Grove that could really silence one taunt. And if Snowace can bait out those taunts, I think he's gonna be okay. As in those taunts be silenced. There's also Sludge Belcher, so I don't see how Snowace is not gonna do well in this situation, unless adyb with the God draws that we've seen gets double Savage Roar and gets game over all of a sudden.
That's right. So as it's a good thing that you mentioned. There is a Keeper of the Grove in the hand of adyb, and for Snowace, you generally want to bait out the silence to take off the taunt, rather than having Keeper of the Grove silence your Twilight Drake. So it's a good thing that you mentioned. And also, druids don't generally run more silences than the two Keeper of the Groves. That's usually enough for them. And generally, maybe an extra Spellbreaker. Owls are not really that popular. So, as you said, baiting out that silence against the taunts is pretty crucial.
Holy
for
cow! Shadow Flame top deck for Snowace.
Wow.
Yeah, this is gonna clear. Alright, so this is where Snowace gets the tempo back. He lives with an empty board. But adyb, man, he was doing all the planning, and the reason why he decided to play Defender Argus on the Shade is because he's afraid of stuff like Hellfire. So he played it on Hellfire, but the top deck top deck Shadow Flame is something that I'm pretty sure that he didn't see coming.
Yep. So he bounces right back with another Echoing Ooze and a Harvest Golem. Very sticky minions, of course.
And the second Shadow Flame comes out here.
Oh man, Snowace getting good draws this time, but he is down to 17 health. And
Savage Roar. If he gets Savage Roar and it's swipe, I think turn 7. If this is turn 7 and that is a Savage Roar, I think it would be game for adyb. But unfortunately, it is not, which leaves us with the question: what does he do here? He cannot kill the 8/8, and I think that if you have a 4/5 on the board, you would Shadow Flame the 4/5. What would you do here?
Oh man, that is tough. I think I would put up some defense and wait for reinforcements personally. I just maybe taunt up with a 4/6, and that is tough. I definitely want to minimize the damage I can take before I can pull out the Savage Roar combo, but that's still a few cards away. How do you think? I mean, how do you think you would be playing this hand?
I think that I would definitely play Druid of the Claw without question, because that means that the Giant's gonna get injured before anything else, and that means also that I protect my 2/3. You can also play Haunted Creeper, but I don't like Haunted Creeper in this instance because it doesn't really, it's just 2 tokens at the board, and what are you looking for? And here adyb is going for all in, is just threatening Snowace to decide and check if he has the Molten Giant. Unfortunately, Lord Jaraxxus is here.
Oh my gosh.
And silence on the 4/5. Okay, so you can silence the 4/5 and then all the Death Rattle will go away. You can also Shadow Flame the 2/1 and that would be enough. So that is why I think you should play the Druid of the Claw in that instance. But then it's still fine here. It's not like adyb's game is over. He just needs to pick up the Force of Nature Savage Roar combo in 2 turns. Do you think he can do that?
I think it's very unlikely, to be honest. I don't think it's very, very likely. If he had put on the Druid of the Claw, that would have dealt 4 damage to the Mountain Giant if he had attacked with that first. Although we do know now that he was planning for a silenced Ancient Watcher. That could have given him some options with Swipe the following turn against
he gets
damage.
Force of Nature.
Oh, that's one.
But it's not enough, so he needs to Druid of the Claw here, and I think that is going to be enough for defense. By the way, it seems like Snowace runs 1 Hellfire as well as 2 Shadow Flame.
Yep. Tournament standard, 2 Shadow Flames. Specifically for moments like this, when you run into a Druid or a Control Paladin with a lot of taunts, you want that kind of removal for sure. And Snowace now, moment of truth. Is he... So that's 8, 12, 14 damage on the board. adyb has to put up some sort of defense, I think.
Yeah.
I think he can Keeper of the Grove. Keeper of the Grove the Owl and swipe the 4/3. So he survives with taking the 8 damage. I don't know. He only has 8 mana, not much.
Well,
to
doing
work with.
this is fine. I think going for cat form is pretty okay. The main problem is that it's not going to be turn 10 next turn, which means that you are not going to be able to deal, 10 damage in 1 turn. He needs to survive 2 turns. That is adyb's challenge. But what he doesn't know is that there is Sludge Belchers. And the moment Sludge Belchers starts coming out, there is no way you can reach Gul'dan anymore, and Snowace is going to be happily laughing behind those Sludge Belchers, very tanky and all.
Man, Sludge Belchers were the perfect addition to a handlock. That's exactly the kind of defense that they needed. just to be able to get to the end game and get Mountain Giants out for even for the increased cost, or put themselves into a position where they can put something like an Alexstrasza down or a Lord Jaraxxus.
At a time like this, I think when you see Slash Belcher, you just feel depression all over again.
Yeah, that's right. It's a perfectly out of swipe range too. It's like it's tailored against Druid. It's pretty bad.
Alright, so 2-1 right now, and I think adyb is gonna have to use a second deck.
That's right. So adyb has a priest and a warlock remaining for his set. So we're going into game 3. Let's see what he chooses.
Mirror matchup.
Mirror matchup.
Just like the first game, mirror matchup.
I guess adyb has some confidence, seeing how he took the.
Oh, but this is interesting. I see Arcane Golem from Snowace. adyb runs Handlock.
So Snowace could have seen. Of course, in the brackets they can see what classes their opponents run. So could he have anticipated adyb wanting to run Handlock Mirror and then change to Zoo?
I have to say that adyb is a pretty standard and consistent Handlock player. Like, he knows what the ins and outs are for the deck, and he's very, very familiar. He plays with it in lots of tournaments. It's not like, he's doing it for the first time. He's actually pretty confident with the Handlock. So it's going to be a Handlock Mirror matchup, and I think the better luck is going to win here. Or, in fact, the better player with the better luck is going to win here. So far, starting hand both looks pretty shitty. There is nothing that's pretty good. For Snowace, you have the Ancient Watcher with Taunt. So that's going to provide some form of defense, but no, he's actually going to coin into life tap, so he's not going to go for that play. And adyb, just really bad hand here. Just going to tap Othering Fuss here. Yeah, both players very bad hand.
So it's all going to be about who gets to put down the Sludge Belcher first, or who gets the value Shadow Flame, and then it's just going to snowball from there, I think.
Yeah, and also who is going to get the Mountain and Molten first?
Yeah.
Because at the rate they're tapping, they would be down to 10 health very soon. I'm just kidding, but yeah, there we go. Ancient Watcher. He's got 2 of that for Snowace. That's the main difference, which makes Snowace's hand slightly better as compared to adyb. But here comes the Twilight Drake. 4-9. And Snowace, what do you think he's gonna play next? He has Twilight Drake and a Taunt and a Mountain Giant. Holy cow! Top deck.
Mountain Giant for sure.
Oh, but no. Is not gonna play Mountain Giant. Interesting. But is adyb gonna play Mountain Giant? That's the question.
It's kind of like we're in the at the brink, and then we're seeing two cowboys facing off at each other to see who fires first.
Just like the Great Wall West.
Yeah, who's gonna reveal their hand first? So Twilight Drake gonna come down for Snowace, and it's gonna be Twilight Drake staring down the Twilight Drake. Mountain Giant, of course, also for adyb. I think he's gonna be playing it first. Here we go. 3 cost Mountain Giant.
I think, yeah, 3 cost Mountain Giant as well for Snowace. And so far, wow, let's see what he loses here. He loses Shadow Flame. That's a big board clear gone.
Oh man, that was crucial. And there is still Shadow Flame.
You know what's the joke?
Oh, sorry.
I think that adyb can just faceless the 8-8.
Ah, man. So
and when he sorry, you were saying?
Sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Now I was saying that if he does that, and without Shadow Flame, he can trade and copy again, maybe, because there is also faceless in the hand for Snowace. So this is where it's really about every single cent that is in the bank. It's all
right.
about whatever cards that you have and how to make use of them. So what do you think? What would you play here?
Power Overwhelming Shadow Flame is what I would play.
Power Overwhelming Shadow Flame on the Twilight Drake.
On the Twilight Drake.
Do you go for face? If you do, he's gonna be down to 12, which means that he can play the Molten Giant in hand.
Yes, because I have a Sludge Belcher also, which I can faceless the next turn. I think that would be my play. Gives you board control, drops Snowace down to 12, and still have the ability to faceless and follow up after that. So I think that's what my play would be. How about you?
I think he might be saving Power Overwhelming for Arcane Golem for 16 damage in one turn. So that's why I don't think he's gonna play that. But this is unexpected. I thought he would Faceless, but Sludge Belcher is fine. It's one big minion that comes with a small little package. The only problem with Handlock is that if you don't clear Mountain Giant in one turn, yeah, there we go. Faceless is gonna copy and makes it double the pain. And this is where it gets very, very bad for adyb. He can always Faceless and Shadow Flame over the course of the next few turns.
Let's not forget, there is a tech card in the hand of adyb. There's a Arcane Golem, which I think that's what he's saving. He wants to Arcane Golem into Power Overwhelming, possibly with a Faceless, and then finish off with the Soulfire.
Yeah, I think so as well. And that is the main combo going into turn 9 combo, where you have just 16 damage plus 4, 20 damage. It's evolved to such a bursty build, mainly because Leeroy is nerfed. That's why they're playing Arcane Golem now. So no more 20 damage burst, but also the good thing is that you bring forward a combo by one turn.
And also, I've seen Handlocks run double Power Overwhelming now to set up that combo, because since you have an extra mana, since it's cheaper by one, the big combo is still possible with a double Power Overwhelming.
Yeah, I mean, this is where I think things are starting to get a little bit serious. Lower Thab, if he comes out here, it means that there is no bot clear mechanic for Snowace, because that is going to be one hell of an expensive Shadow Flame. 9 mana, which he doesn't have.
I don't know what to... so probably gonna use the second Mountain Giant to clear something out.
I think he's gonna taunt it up here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but taunt is really gonna ruin the dream for the Arcane Golem. And I think... yeah, there we go. 4-5, 3-5, double taunts up there. Siphon Soul, not bad.
Not bad. But I think it's time for Power Overwhelming into Shadow Flame, you think?
Yeah, I agree.
That is too much of a stacked board. Two Mountain Giants in play. That's.
But then you have to understand that one major factor for consideration for adyb is if he runs double Power Overwhelming, or that is the one and only in the entire deck.
That's true. That's true.
If he runs double Power Overwhelming, sure, you can easily do the trick here. It's not that big of a problem. But if that's the one and only, then you don't want to burst it like that.
How about if we Faceless? If we Faceless the Sludge Belcher, run the Drake into it, and then Shadow Flame, because that's gonna clear the whole board.
Is it?
Oh wait,
it's not.
wait,
the Drake is not gonna kill the Sludge Belcher.
Right.
Oh, okay. He's still gonna try and Shadow Flame here. So 3-1 is the only thing alive, which I think it's okay. Not a bad play, unless there's a silence, and here comes the silence from Snowace.
Oh boy.
It's crazy. This game is crazy. So
that's gonna be a ping.
Turn 9. Unfortunately, I don't think that adyb can go through the taunt in one turn.
Yeah.
Unless he sacrifices that, and Molten Giant is out as well. It's surprising to see that there's been a lot of giants, just patronizing Snowace's board, but the damage is not really dealt to adyb. It's normally used for board control, and that's why adyb is still at 24 health.
Yep. And despite all the giants coming down for Snowace, he's down to 13. So, yeah. Very good point.
Okay, Arcane Golem. Arcane Golem, Faceless. Is it Power Overwhelming time? There's still a taunt there. That's 16 damage. Okay, I think he's gonna use Soulfire on that one too. So yes, it's gonna be enough. Game, and it seems like adyb will go on. Snowace is eliminated.
Wow, big combo. So he was waiting for that exact moment, and he got it. The moment he smelled blood. And yes, adyb takes that. He's moving on to the next round of the tournament. And we will be right back, I believe, for the next round of this Legends Season 4 tournament. Congratulations and welcome as well to all of our players. I think we have a pretty decent turnout. Yeah, instead of, as you mentioned earlier, instead of a top 32, we decided to spread the acceptance of more legend players, just to have to showcase and highlight most of our brothers and sisters who are in legend rank at the moment in Southeast Asia. So it's good to see everybody, and thank you for having us, of course.
Alright, so see you guys in a short while. Don't go anywhere. Round 3 of the Single Eliminations Legends Southeast Asian Legends Invitational.